to start recording in 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 1 of the CineMajors podcast. I'm your host, James Altschul, and I'm here with my co-host,
Matthew Ha. Hello.
So this is going to be uploaded on May 4th, though we're recording on May 3rd. And despite it being May 4th, we decided to start our podcast with a non-Star Wars movie, but still a really, really, really good movie. Parasite, which was the 2019 Best Picture winner among many other Academy Awards and other awards. So we'll be doing a review of that movie for you. And then we'll also be going over movie film news on the podcast. So yeah.
Yes, we should.
Without further ado, let's get into the news.
Yeah. Well, also, since this is our first episode of CineMajors, just wanted to talk briefly about what we're going to be doing. Kind of like what James said, we'll be talking about movies and movie news and movie recommendations. Since we are currently in the middle of quarantine, we cannot go to theaters to watch movies, but we'll just be doing it for movies that have been really popular within the past year, and also some old favorites. And speaking of movie theaters, certain movie theaters are getting ready to reopen in states like Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma because their stay-at-home orders are way less strict compared to here in Illinois. And they will be doing so by implementing TSA-style check-ins and temperature screenings. And obviously, they'll still practice social distancing, like, one seat, every other seat. And there's, according to this article by MovieWeb, a Texas theater company plans to open 2 locations on Monday, implementing airport security-style check-in, and they'll be sent into a cordoned area from front of the establishment, and from there they will be asked if anyone in the household has had flu-like symptoms in the past 2 weeks. And also they will have to go through an infrared temperature screening, meaning that anyone that has a temperature higher than 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit, they will not be allowed inside the theater.
Very interesting.
I don't understand why theaters are opening now for 2 reasons.
Me either.
One, because you're still technically in quarantine. Like, maybe they've lifted, but do you really want to go to the theater? And 2, there's nothing out. So,
yeah,
it's almost like, what's the point?
That's the thing.
Well,
they're really, I mean, I've heard that in China they're rerunning a lot of kind of, they're rerunning like the Marvel movies, for example. I've heard.
Well, actually, that's what they're
old.
doing here. They said they'll focus on movies like they'll be doing American classics, and also recent movies like Sonic the Hedgehog and local favorites like American Sniper.
Huh. That's such an odd choice.
Well, it must be
Very
a local,
specific
a local thing. This isn't Texas, so I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, what about you? If the theater, well, I know you've gone to like a lot of, like you went to a King Kong screening, for example, right?
Yeah, that King.
Do you think you would?
Well, that King Kong.
Would you go back to the theater?
I would not go back to the theater. Like, at least until major chains start reopening, because at least by then I'll know that, okay, it's probably safe. But also, like, there's nothing coming out. Like, I have no incentive to go to the theater because nothing new's playing. So it's almost like, what's the point?
Right.
Why would I risk my health to watch a movie that I could see it on my TV at home? True. Instead of, like, going to, like, a public space. Like, it's just so odd.
It seems like Tenet is probably going to be the first movie that a lot of people see, hopefully.
Yeah, Tenet and Mulan. Cause
hopefully when did they reschedule Mulan for?
I think, like, the week after Tenet comes out. So sometime in July.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we're back in July.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So the next piece of news, the Academy Awards or the Oscars this year, 93rd Academy Awards, will allow streaming service films to be eligible, which is a change from the previous rules, which were that films had to be screened for at least 2 weeks in a theater, right?
Actually, I think it was only 7 days.
Really?
Yeah, it was 7 days
So
within it, like in at least in a Los Angeles County theater, but they're also expanding to venues in New York, Chicago, and like the Bay Area.
I see.
I find this to be kind of astounding because the Academy is pretty notorious for being butthurt when it comes to like movie eligibility and like how movies get chosen from, you know, their theatrical window. So the fact that they're just saying, okay, any movie that's on a streaming service right now has an opportunity to be nominated. So
Right.
like I'm just trying to think of an example. Like for example, there's this one movie on Netflix called I think it's like All the Bright Places. It has Elle Fanning in it, which is kind of like a typical Netflix rom-com, but that is technically eligible for an Oscar.
Here's another question. What counts as eligible? Or what counts as a streaming service to them?
That
Like, can a YouTube movie be eligible?
That is a good question, actually. I didn't think about that. My guess is that it has to be a major streaming service. So that would be like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, YouTube Red, or like
Right.
any one of those streaming services that makes original content is technically eligible now.
Mm-hmm. So here's the real question. Well, I keep saying that, but here's another question. Do you think this is going to be the new normal?
I don't think so.
You think it would be strictly for this year?
I have a feeling because I could see why they're doing it, just because the future is uncertain. Like, we don't know when theaters are going to open again. And many movies have had to have their release dates delayed until next year when the Oscars for this year have already passed. So there's gonna be hardly any movies, theoretically, I feel like.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be from a smaller pool.
Yeah. So I understand why they're doing it, and I'm totally okay with it as long as they don't nominate some like BS movie.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Like, as long as the movies they choose from these streaming services are good, then I guess I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, this was kind of another hot topic last year in terms of like streaming services and theatrical runs. I mean, what the Irishman and Marriage Story?
Yeah, but those were
the only two.
But those were fair though, because those were in theaters for like a decent amount of time before they went on Netflix. Like, I saw Marriage Story in the theater when it was a Netflix film. So if the public can go to the movie theater to pay to see a movie that would otherwise be on a streaming service, that totally counts, I feel like.
Fair.
Like, even if it's for a week, people are going out of their way to pay to go into the cinema to watch it. That totally counts for an Oscar in my mind. I don't understand why people make this argument.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that.
Speaking of the Oscars, they have also implemented some new news in terms of some changing of the nominees. So one is that they are consolidating Best Sound Mixing and Best Sound Editing into Best Sound. Which...
Yeah.
I could see why they did it, because for the longest time I had no idea what the difference between sound mixing and sound editing were. However...
I think most people don't.
Yeah, most people don't, so
but
I see why.
At the same time,
they're limiting the amount of people that would get... that could receive an award. Because, yeah, most people don't think about the sound effects in a movie, I feel like. But that plays a key role, not just the mixing, but I think the editing more. specifically. So I don't know what that's going to entail for a movie. Like, will that mean there's going to be more individual nominees for the category? Because, there's like multiple people for like one movie. Would that mean that there's going to be like 10 or something like that?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it limits the amount of films that can get exposure, and also, yeah, it's just, I mean, what if I feel like what I think of a lot is, the other kind of more specific award I think of is best screenplay or best original screenplay versus best adapted screenplay. And in my mind, I feel like that's a fair,
I think that one's
kind of distinguishment.
I think that one's more than fair because,
yeah,
like, and that's the problem I have with the Golden Globes, because the Golden Globes only has one screenplay nominee. It's just best screenplay, but at the same time, they're cutting the nominees in half of otherwise amazing screenplays that were from the past year. That's my problem, and that's the same thing with the sound categories. Now, granted, some people would argue like, oh, sound mixing's not important, nearly as important as like screenplay, but no, that's still people spend a lot of time to create sound and edit sound to fit the movie. Because without the sound, it's basically a silent film. You're listening to silence. So
yeah.
I will say I'm not nearly as upset as something like omitting best cinematography. Because remember when they did that, they were going to do that a few years ago, but thankfully they changed it.
Yeah.
Or like the idea of like best popular film, which I'm so glad they're not using. I
don't know. It seems like the Academy keeps trying to reinvent themselves, and in just a lot of like sad ways,
Yeah.
Because I feel like, it is like a great opportunity to recognize cinema.
Not just cinema, but like the people involved too. Like these are people that devoted their lives to
the industry.
And like you could be like what you said, you could be not only would your film be ingrained in the history of the Academy, but if you win, you're a part of that award's history and you have a trophy to commend your hard work.
Yeah.
Just like with any like sport, really. I feel like that's really important for
the
individual. Yeah. Not just for the team, but for yourself as well. Like you feel like you're a part of something even greater. And this kind of just limits it a bit.
That's the way I see it. Like, I know a lot of people talk about award shows in general as just kind of being, political. Like Hollywood patting itself on the back. And political, yeah. But, I don't know. I feel like it's important to have, like, some kind of, like, high standard. Like, something that,
Yeah.
like, you can... Like, it's, like, a really, like, meaningful symbol of excellence. I feel like that's just... It makes it... It's like as if... I know they're making, like, an Academy museum or something, but, like, if you have your painting and... If you have your painting in, like, the Louvre or something... that's like a symbol of excellency. If you have won an Academy Award, I feel like maybe that's similar in a way.
Yeah,
But
I like I said, I don't think this is the worst change that the Academy is implementing, but it is just kind of unfortunate, I feel like. Yeah. Especially considering last year they added two, like for the makeup and hairstyling, they added two more films so that more films and people could get nominated. And like, oh, that's great, because it used to be 3 for like the longest time. And like and I always thought like that's weird that that's the only one that has 3. Then they upped it to 5, so it's all equal. I'm like, oh, perfect. But then they got rid of an entire category, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of theaters, this has been kind of a hot topic, but AMC and Regal are refusing to screen future Universal pictures
That's right.
over because of Trolls World Tour being released on demand
Yeah.
or for purchase already without a theatrical release.
I could see why.
Yeah.
Because now actually looking into it, at first I thought it was really petty. Because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh yeah, we didn't make money, even though there's no way we can make money. We're not going to screen your films. However, I realized that Universal and DreamWorks did not even inform the theater companies that they were going to do this and get approval beforehand. They just did it.
Yeah.
That's now I'm on the theater side because yeah, that is not right. You shouldn't do that. That's kind of
I'm definitely with the theaters on this one as well, just because like, you know, I don't know, I think obviously the first Trolls movie made hundreds of millions of dollars,
yeah.
so you know, a very popular movie that people may go see with their kids several times. It's a family movie. So yeah, I mean, that's millions of dollars that AMC and Regal are missing out on.
I feel like in
the long term.
I feel like in a way too, the way they handled it was kind of immature because it's not like Universal announced that they were going to release Trolls World Tour like a month before the movie actually came out, and they didn't say anything. It's not until the movie made like $100 million in VOD sales that the theater companies were like, oh yeah, we're not going to screen your films anymore. Like, if you really had a problem with it, you, like, wouldn't they have, like, said something before the movie was released?
On VOD?
Yeah, because they knew that a lot of people were going to watch it because there's literally nothing else to watch. So,
right.
I don't understand why they didn't just, like, say something, like, right away.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been interesting if that whole VOD thing just kind of bombed.
Yeah. Like, if it bombed, I guess no one would have cared. Like, I bet you if that movie bombed on VOD, AMC and Regal wouldn't have said anything.
Well, yeah, because then Universal would need the theaters.
Exactly, yeah. But I feel like AMC and Regal wholeheartedly knew that this movie was going to make a lot of money in VOD sales, but for some reason they just didn't say anything until now.
Exactly.
I really don't get it. And the irony is that Trolls World Tour was actually released in some like drive-in theaters. Like it wasn't like completely omitted from theaters because drive-ins are still open technically because you're in your car by yourself.
Yeah.
The only thing is that there's like no drive-in theaters in America, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know but the closest one to us is like probably like an hour away.
I think so. I've never been to a drive-in.
Yeah. Me either. We should do that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be cool.
So
how long does the Universal ban apply? Did they say anything about it?
I don't know, but I feel like AMC's like they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot because like Universal is gonna get ready to release No Time to Die and Fast and Furious 9. Those are blockbusters. Like they're already losing money now. Why would they like want to lose more in like protest because of this? Like
that's
everyone's losing, so like what's the point? It's so childish, I feel like.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, if they put out like a statement against Universal or something, or
yeah, if
you know, condemned it,
they could
publicly.
I guess they could sue. Like, it would be more logical for them to sue for like whatever amount of money than just an outright ban, because
and even that's not very logical.
Yeah, exactly. Like AMC and Regal are already tanking like in their stock prices and all that. Why would you make lose even more money by banning like this company? Universal is a major company too. It's not like A24 where it's like independent. It's one of like the big Hollywood studios.
So yeah, I mean, No Time to Die and Fast Furious are gonna make money no matter what.
Fast and Furious 5 will, or not 5, 9 will easily make $1 billion, and No Time to Die probably will as well.
Yeah. That's the thing is, you know, I'm with the theaters because obviously, you know, we're big advocates for the theater experience.
Yeah. I'm more on
But
I'm
yeah.
more on AMC's side. Actually, no, it's hard to say whose side I'm
Yeah.
on because they both kind of did like bad things. Like AMC flat out banning a studio's films for something like this, and like them knowing that they're gonna lose money. Yeah, that's stupid. But at the same time, Universal just didn't tell them. So like, were they trying to like cause all this? Like, I don't get it. This is kind of dumb when you think about it.
Yeah. Jurassic World 3, is that coming out next year?
I don't know actually when I think it is. I don't think it's been delayed.
Fair. Is there anything else we need to talk about in terms of news?
I guess just one quick thing. A new Disney live action remake is on our way, and it's Hercules, and it's going to be produced by
Yes.
Avengers Endgame directors Anthony and Joe Russo.
Very interesting.
And
I wonder
wait, sorry.
I wonder how different it'll be noticeably different from the other Disney remakes.
I don't know how they're gonna do it.
Even though I know. Go on.
I have a feeling it could be like 4 in a way. But honestly, I don't really care too much just because I'm not a big fan of the original Hercules in general. But obviously, the internet is very upset about this. Like, if you go on Twitter, they're just
Really?
Yeah, because people don't like the fact that they always do Disney live action remakes. I have problems with it, but it's just like everyone complains about them. People are doing like fan castings of them, which are pretty entertaining. They're kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't
know. I feel like it's not worth complaining about. It's just inevitable.
I just have one request for this, even though I'm not a fan of the movie, really. I just want Danny DeVito to come back as Phil in live action. That's my only request. If they don't do that, then, like, I don't know what to say. Yeah, I probably won't. Yeah, if Danny DeVito's not gonna be in it, I won't see it then.
Dang. Well, he was in Dumbo.
Yeah, that's true. He was like one of the only good things in that movie. But yeah, like, I feel like Hercules is just that's not the first movie that comes to mind that needs to be remade too. Like, there's other Disney movies I'd rather see. I'd rather see, like, Hunchback get remade, which I think they're doing a Hunchback remake, or like
that would be pretty cool.
Like, we have a friend that has always talked about this. We want a Black Cauldron remake. The movie's not good, but it would be amazing in live action, I think.
Yeah. You know, it would also be cool to see, like... Aren't they doing, like, a CGI Robin Hood as well?
Yeah, but that's for Disney Plus. I think this one's going to be in the theater.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Robin Hood one's going to be on Disney Plus. Kind of like the Lady and the Tramp remake that no one saw.
Huh. That's crazy.
I think Robin Hood's...
So I would totally pay to see that.
Robin Hood, that's just a weird one to remake too, because the story of Robin Hood has been made to film so many times. Like, why do we need a remake?
And the animated
why do we need a remake of the Disney one when it's just going to be all animals? Like, to me, that's just an odd choice for a remake. Not that I'm against it, but it's just, you could remake so many other movies, honestly.
Yeah. Or just make Tron 3.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good
great.
point. Yeah, Tron 3.
Yeah, I look forward to the day where we get to talk about Tron 3 news on this cast.
Yeah. I thought I heard they canceled Tron 3, but apparently it's not, like, completely canned. Like, they're trying to get it off the ground.
Nah, it's just, it's stuck in development hell.
It's been like that for, like, what, 10 years?
Pretty much. I think it came out in like 2010 or 11.
Wow.
In the winter. You know, I don't actually know exactly when it released, but I think it was in early December. I don't know. But, yeah. We'll have to talk about that someday.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, that was,
Just some movie news.
Yeah, that was movie news. So without further ado, would you like to get into Parasite?
Yeah, so Parasite, this is a great movie, and just to briefly, first of all, spoilers for Parasite, even though it's been out for a little bit, I just want to specify that. And the plot of Parasite, it's about this poor family who basically, out of desperation, they decide to become employees of this rich family by infiltrating their house and basically posing as as unrelated workers, even though the poor people are a family pretty much, and they one by one infiltrate by getting roles such as a tutor, a housekeeper, a driver, and basically after that they discover some weird things about the family and like what they're hiding pretty much. That's kind of the best way I could describe the movie, but it's a lot more than that. And I'll just say right now, this is my favorite film of all time. Even though it came out in 2019, this is my favorite film.
Yeah. I'd say it's also easily in my top 10.
Yeah, and this was a big deal too. Like this movie, it won the Palme d'Or at Cannes in 2019, which was huge, and then it later won Best Picture amongst many other awards. Which,
how many films have ever won the Palme d'Or and Best Picture?
I'm not sure actually. I know it's not many. Let me double check real quick.
Yeah.
But this was very significant as it was the first film from South Korea to win both the Palme d'Or and Best Picture, and also be nominated and win any Oscar for South Korea. So up until Parasite, there have
besides
been
Best.
Yeah, there have been no other film from Korea was nominated in the history of the Academy Awards until Parasite.
Yeah. And it swept.
Yeah.
Kinda. But yeah, and I just had such a great time. That's one of the things that's really just amazing about this movie. It's you know, it's good, it's well made, but it's also extremely entertaining to watch.
Yeah. Speaking of just like rewatchability, I feel like the best thing that a movie can do is to make you want to rewatch it again and again. And for me with Parasite, and I might have, like, I love the movie so much, I may have a biased opinion towards it because I am also Korean myself, so I have kind of, like, even if let's say the movie wasn't like critically acclaimed or something like that, I probably still would have enjoyed it. But the fact that it won Best Picture, it won the Palme d'Or, it pretty much got a bunch of people to look at South Korean cinema as like the next big thing, and Bong Joon-ho finally got like international acclaim. It's probably the first time in my entire life that I actually felt like national pride, like for South Korea. Like I was happy to be a Korean. Like and I know that sounds like really like biased, but it's truthfully how I felt like watching it, and also after it got so much like recognition.
Nice.
What were you saying?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not Korean, but I also, yeah, I mean, I just really, really enjoyed this movie. And I was also just really happy that the Academy picked it. It just seemed like, it just seems kind of like when you watch it, you feel like it's, when you watch like a classic movie, one of like a really great, kind of really ingrained
like
in
Citizen Kane, for
cinema
example.
history movie.
Let's just say that.
There's Citizen Kane, Back to the Future.
Pulp Fiction.
There's Pulp Fiction. When you kind of watch Star Wars, even if you watch like one of those movies, you kind of just get this feeling, and you're watching something amazing when you are watching it, when you're done with it, when you're talking about it with other people. I feel like this movie really deserves all the hype that it's gotten.
Oh, totally. And like, I remember,
and it will. Well, I feel like it will just kind of be one of the great movies of the 21st century and of all time.
Yeah, I totally agree. And this is kind of like what I thought with Lighthouse. Like after I got out of Lighthouse, which also is one of my favorite films of last year, this was kind of like what you said. As soon as like the movie started, I knew that I was watching something special unfold right in front of me. And there's very, very few movies that I could say that. Like Parasite from beginning to end is, in my opinion, flawless. Like if someone said like, oh, I found a flaw in Parasite, like you really have to like dig down to find a problem. At least that's what I think. Because another thing in terms of rewatchability, kind of like what I was saying earlier, like the best thing they could do for a film is like rewatch it. I saw Parasite in the theater 4 times, the most I've ever seen a movie in the theater, and an additional 4 times after I bought the Blu-ray. So I've seen it 8 times since I first saw it in like November, and like it's not like someone else is watching it. I just sit down, like I actively go out of my way to watch it. Like, oh, I want to watch Parasite again, or I show like friends or something. But where do we start, like with just how good the movie is? Like, where should we begin?
Also, one more thing I do want to say is, there's some movies that I feel like you really can only just watch once, and if you want to watch it again, you have to watch it kind of on your own. Like, I feel like the entertainment value of this movie is something that you can just watch with your friends anytime you want and have a great time.
Yeah, it's like The Room, but like this is actually good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's excitement, there's mystery, there's comedy. And if everybody's willing to at least pay a little bit of attention,
yeah,
you're gonna have a great time with this movie.
Yeah, like I was hoping I could show more people this, but unfortunately due to COVID, I can't really like in person. But I know as soon as this is done, I want to show like everyone I know that hasn't seen it. Yeah. But I guess we should just like. I'm trying to think of where to even start, because like we both really love the movie, like as you could probably tell. But I'm trying to think like where should we even like begin with like why this movie is so good.
One thing I really like about it is just how I feel like the script and direction really kind of perfectly like blend genres. And that's another thing. And like going back to the whole idea of like a great movie, I feel like the best movies don't belong to one genre. And we were talking about this a few weeks ago or something. But like the best movies don't like they have like kind of many elements of different genres.
They play with
genre
and like jump around between the two, or between however many.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's just a movie.
Yeah.
Like, for example, going back to the Future, that movie is comedy, drama, science fiction,
high school, action.
action, even the historical, or if that's a
Yeah, no,
kind of a
yeah, actually,
subgenre.
I consider that and that's, I think another thing of going back to like what you say about the script that makes it so impressive. Not only does it play with genre, but it plays with it so well. Like every single genre like works perfectly because there's many films that play with different types of genre, but they succeed in like one and like let's say one film succeeds really well in being a drama, but its comedy falls really really flat. Like Parasite,
Mm-hmm.
every single genre works perfectly. It's a perfect like drama, like in terms of like the characters and like the connections as a family, like as a family drama. It works perfectly as a comedy because it's hilarious, like both
Mm-hmm.
intentionally and also like as a dark comedy, which Bong Joon-ho's films do a lot of. It works great as a mystery because there is a lot of mystery and suspense. There's even subtle like horror elements in the movie, even though I wouldn't consider it a horror film by any stretch of the imagination. But the very few horror
Mm-hmm.
elements that are in this movie are like perfect. There's even like some like shocking
It
moments as
worked
well,
really well.
as particularly with like the last third. But we'll get into that later. But
Mm-hmm.
I I think
Especially like, well, go
no
on.
no you go first.
Well, I was kind of just gonna get into the first like kind of third of the movie. Um, I think it really just sets up the movie really well. Um, I remember reading and kind of hearing about the movie from other people, including you. A lot of them told me that it was a horror movie.
Yeah,
Um,
I definitely would not consider this a horror film, even though it kind of gives the impression of one. Like I don't know if you've seen any trailers
yeah,
for it, but the trailer definitely gave the impression that it was going to be more horror, but it's not even like it's not like that. To me, I consider this more of a thriller, if anything. It's
I could see that.
according to
Yeah,
Wikipedia, it's a black comedy thriller, and that might be the best way to describe the film because those are the two most common like elements in it.
I think it is. Um, and that's the first thing I noticed about the movie is just how funny it was.
Yeah, like right
Um,
away, just the dialogue is
right
so.
away, the first 30 minutes of the movie, I was really just cracking up. Um, I thought it was really funny. Even like especially the first time that the sister got a job, and just as they kept
Oh
um,
yeah,
bringing their entire
they skip
family,
bringing.
I thought that was just
I
really funny.
I I love that too because like it not only shows that like you question why the rich family, which is the Parks, like you question why they're going along with so much of this because it's so obvious. Like yeah, they're obviously related in some way, but they're just not realizing it at all. And I think what makes the movie so great too is that it is incredibly intelligent in terms of its themes of social inequality and like what else, class, wealth, and all that.
Hmm.
Like because I've seen a lot of like people talk about the movie, but like I always see it as like as a contrast between the rich and the poor because like the poor I'm sorry, in a way the poor always kind of keep going up towards the rich because that's something they want to be like, which kind of in a way makes them a parasite because they're just they're only doing this really just to get money, and you know that. And
Mm-hmm.
despite that, their that money is their only goal, they're still incredibly likable, and there's reason for why. Like they're not mean people, but they're doing just because they have no other options, and they're just so poor that they have to continually
Right.
leech onto this family. However, the rich family are also like parasites because they're continually leeching onto like poor people to do everything for them. Because you notice that like obviously Mr. Park he has a job making money, but like Mrs. Park really doesn't do anything. Like it's just always like their housekeeper like cooks food for them. They have someone to drive them to work or the store, and like what else? They have like a tutor. Like they don't even bother to like, teach their kids, and also like with the youngest kid, Dasong, who's like they say he's like this like art fanatic or Indian fanatic. In a way, the daughter of the poor family is kind of just like a babysitter, like not like kind of parenting the youngest child. So it's
Yeah.
like they're always relying on the poor to do something for them. So each side of like the social class leeches onto each other, and in a way it's kind of saying that it's not saying that everyone's a bad person, but everyone's just flawed and can't do anything for themselves, it seems like. And that's what makes it so good too.
Yeah. It's kind of like, and that it can kind of be interpreted, and that's like the meaning of that can kind of is up to the viewer, which is cool. You can view it from like a cynical way, meaning, life is terrible because everybody does stuff because they need each other.
That's
but also it's kind of beautiful that
everyone's kind of like
people need each other.
Yeah, like I when I was watching it, I didn't get the sense that these were bad people. Like, because a film like Joker, where there's obviously Joker saying that the world has no heroes, even the quote unquote heroes deep down are just as bad as the villains of Gotham. Like in Parasite, it's not like that, and it's probably because first of all they don't really do anything like overtly like mean. I feel like it's not like they're criminals and like blowing stuff up or anything like that, but kind of like what you said, like it's more that they sort of unintentionally like leech onto each other and don't even realize like the true kind of like hurt that they're doing. Because like like there's some really great moments too, like in the movie, especially like the conflicts between Mr. Park and Mr. Kim, kind of near the end where we see that unfold. But it's I'm trying to think where I'm going.
That's what's one thing that's really cool about this. Another thing that's really cool about this movie is how it does talk about important topical issues without sacrificing its timelessness.
Yeah.
Because obviously, this does take place in the 2010s or the 21st century. So I suppose it's kind of dated in that regard, but it does kind of talk about an issue that, while class inequality has been a hot topic lately, especially kind of over the last
probably since like 2020 it's been
decade, right?
Especially considering like the time we're in now.
And it probably will be a growing issue in the coming decade, but that has been kind of an essential human conflict.
Yeah, like ever since the beginning of time, there's always been like class conflict between like rich and poor. Pretty much exactly what you said. There's gonna be like what's it called? There's like this movie, the only thing that'll be dated is probably just technology, but the themes and the story I feel like are timeless. Like people could probably watch this movie 100 years from now and still get the themes and understand like what these characters are going through. Because like especially some older movies with themes, they seem either dated or meant specifically for that time period. But like Parasite's not like that. It's gonna be relevant like no matter what time period we live in, I feel like.
And that's why I feel like it's gonna be remembered as one of the great movies.
Oh yeah.
Because of just kind of like, I feel like all great stories that will be kind of remembered forever as like essential movies deal with these timeless themes, which I think Parasite does so well. Another thing, kind of going off of what you were talking about, in terms, one of the ways that they just show it is through the production design.
Yeah, the production design is astounding in this movie because
so they actually built
the
house from scratch,
and even the basement apartment. and like that whole alleyway, like in the rain scene,
Mm-hmm.
that was all built in like a studio or something, which is incredible. Like
Yeah.
that house especially, I thought was like okay, that has to be a real house. Like maybe not in Korea, but like somewhere, like in Asia or something. But they built that from scratch, and that's really amazing.
It's amazing, and it also does mean that because it's just like a perfectly controlled environment, it means that they really just thought about everything.
Yeah, they like that house is freaking nice. I want to live in that house.
Yeah.
And especially with like the themes like staircases too. Like even just to get to the front door of the house, you have to walk upstairs. Pretty much.
Yeah. And stairs are kind of a motif in this movie.
Oh yeah, stairs play a huge part, and also kind of the themes of like not capitalism. We already kind of talked about it, but like colonialism and imperialism, especially with like the American Indian plays a huge role. I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
which that we could probably talk about when we talk about the last like third of the movie.
Which I think, yeah, that's actually a pretty good segue into it.
Or actually, was there anything? I'm trying to think if there's anything else real quick I want to discuss. Like, I guess before we go into that, like, there's certain scenes I want to talk about in the first half that I really love. For example, like I think kind of like what we were talking about, going back to gender shift, not gender, genre shifting. My bad.
No, you're all good.
Yeah, I love how the first half is pretty much it's kind of like the build up in a way, and it seems like really like normal, but then as soon as like the second half hits, like the halfway point, it just like it hits the fan pretty much, and like it goes so crazy. But like
Yeah.
the best scene to me in the whole movie is the montage scene with the peach, with the music. You know what I'm talking about, right?
With the what? Oh, the peaches?
peach, yeah. Which is
Yeah.
and I think like musically wise too, like the music is not only really really good, but it perfectly matches the tone and mood of the movie, which is what you want in a music score. Like
Yeah.
like it fits so well, and also the fact that they're like they're basically conceiving this plot to get rid of the housekeeper because she has like this like deathly like allergy to peaches or something like that, and like the way they do it is it's so kind of like crazy and even like like dangerous in a way, but it flows like a ballet in a sense, like with the music, and also it's like really funny too, and like kind of going back to humor as well. Like that was the one scene I remember when I watched in the theater. Like I think it was like the third time. There's this one guy at the end of the scene. He just started laughing so loud, like it went through till the next scene basically. And that was another great thing about watching with a crowd too, is that like I was paying. The more I saw it in the theater, I was paying attention to the audience because since I had seen it, I knew what was gonna happen. But like you could tell a lot of people had not seen the movie yet, so I was just like watching their reactions. Like that was one that got a really big laugh. Like during one of the stairs scenes, it was like a shocking moment too. Like everyone jumped. So
When she falls down the stairs.
yeah, when like that, like the really good like sound mixing of just like her hitting the wall is like a thunk.
Yeah.
Like
So speaking of which, I think that's also another point, kind of going back to what we were talking about in the news segment, is I feel like movies like this are kind of what justify the existence of the Best Picture award.
oh yeah, like this is probably the first best picture movie probably since Birdman. Have you seen Birdman?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, this is probably the first best picture movie since Birdman that was worthy of the Best Picture award. Because that's one thing that pisses me off about the Academy. I love the Academy Awards. They choose some weird movies for Best Picture, and I don't understand why. To tell you the truth, there are movies that don't necessarily deserve it. Like yeah, Green Book was a good movie. No way did it deserve Best Picture.
Yeah.
Let's see, Shape of Water. Yeah, it was a really good movie, but Dunkirk was better and should have won. And
Fair.
like I guess since we're on the topic of the Oscars, I guess we should talk about my reaction to this Best Picture win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
That was really funny.
I currently go to school at Iowa right now, and we have a local art house theater that had an Oscar watch party, and like I know a bunch of people there, and they had ballots, and like everyone was saying like, oh yeah, I love Parasite. I don't think it's gonna win though, because 1917 was considered the front runner to win, which personally I thought 1917 was incredibly overrated and did not deserve all the nominations it got. And like everyone was saying like, yeah, 1917 is probably gonna win, but I was like, no, they're gonna make history. Parasite's winning Best Picture. Like I know it's gonna win Best Picture. And then like it actually won more awards than I thought it was gonna, because it won Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best International Film, and like just the anticipation to Best Picture. I'm like, okay, it's coming, and I don't know what I would have done if 1917 won, but as soon as like they announced Parasite won, I just went ballistic. I was so happy, because like it was not only a film that I love, the me being of Korean heritage had a part in it, but also the fact that like everyone thought that it wasn't gonna win despite everyone's love for the film. So it was really.
And that's just the thing. It's so good that they chose. Like they picked the right movie. You know?
Yeah, and like also the fact that it's been so long since the Academy has done this. Like, first of all, I'm so happy that they finally awarded Best Picture to a foreign film. Even if this wasn't Korean, that still would have been amazing, because the Academy's pretty notorious for that, and I don't think they should be. I don't think a movie, because like last year with Green Book won over Roma, which I think was pretty stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, oh, it's because it's foreign. I'm like, no, that's BS. Like, a film shouldn't, just because a film's foreign doesn't mean it's like automatically like disqualified from winning Best Picture. Like, I think that's so stupid.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you said like, oh, a movie won, the best screenplay, so it can't win.
Yeah.
Best Picture. It's like you know.
But like now, I feel like there's no
like part of the exist. Well, gone.
No, or I guess I'll just say it real quick. Now, nobody can complain about the foreign picture or like best foreign like a foreign language film winning Best Picture, because Parasite did it. There's no reason to complain anymore.
Yeah. It's already been done. I don't know. I think. Yeah, it was just one of the most well-deserved awards that I've ever seen. And I was just really surprised by the amount of backlash that I got.
Oh yeah, the Parasite haters is what I call them. Yeah. Should we talk about that real quick before we get into like the last few scenes?
Yeah, I think that's good. That's a good way to wrap it up. So yeah, obviously a lot of people were not happy with Parasite winning Best Picture.
Yeah.
Because it's a foreign film.
I guess I should clarify too. Like, I'm not saying that like everyone should be happy that this film won. Like, if you didn't like the movie, which I don't know anyone that doesn't like this movie, by the way. If you didn't like it, that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. But don't say that the film didn't deserve Best Picture just because it's foreign. Like, that's not only offensive, I feel like, but it's just ignorant. It's so ignorant, because it just sounds like you didn't even watch the movie at that point.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people also didn't watch the movie.
Like, because I remember, I think I sent you this video, but there was this guy that on YouTube, he was pissed that Parasite won because Joker, like, he wanted Joker to win instead or something like that. Which Joker was a great movie. Like, I'm not a Joker hater. I like the movie a lot. But his reasoning is just...
I did as well,
It's just so, like, one note. Like, oh, I wanted this movie to win. It didn't. So the movie that won sucks. Like, why? I don't understand. Like, and what are you trying to do? Like, do you think the Academy is gonna be like, oh, people are hating this, we're gonna get rid of Parasite's Best Picture and replace it with this? Like, they're not gonna do that. So what's your goal? What is your goal?
Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of people who were saying that didn't watch the movie, and it's also kind of sad because I feel like a lot of
It is
people
sad.
who liked Joker would like Parasite.
Yeah, and that's like I feel this way about just a lot of foreign films. Like people, Bong Joon-ho said this at the Golden Globes. Like once you overcome the 1 inch tall barrier of subtitles, you'll be introduced to so many amazing films. He is so right. People are like they are missing out not just on Parasite because like yeah, Parasite's an amazing film. There's so many other amazing Korean films that people are missing out on, like The Host, Old Boy, Mother, Train to Busan, what else? Burning, The Handmaiden. Like these are all amazing films that people would love. People would love these films. I guarantee it, just because they're well made, they're well acted, they're great stories, and people are ignoring them just because it's in a foreign language. And don't be like, oh, then they could just remake it. That's BS because it's not going to be the same.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. You know, I honestly have not seen a lot of I have not seen a lot of foreign films
Which is totally
in general.
Oh yeah, but which is totally fine. Like I'm not saying you have to watch air. Like I'm not saying you like the only thing you have to watch are foreign films.
No,
yeah.
But you're totally right, and you know I've been a big fan of anime for about 6 years, and just there's a big argument in that community like over the subs versus the dubs.
Yeah.
And just because like there's so many great performances that can come out of reading like watching a subtitled movie.
Yeah.
There's just a huge benefit to watching a movie in its original state.
Yeah, I'm more sub personally, just because it's like more authentic. Like it was made because like a foreign film, it was made in the language from the country it was produced, and to me like that's the most original film like you're gonna get. Like dubbing I have two problems. One, like it's a translation, so it doesn't feel authentic, and two, most of the dubbings I've seen for films are not good. Like if you're gonna dub it, at least make it good. So, and I guess speaking of subtitles, another thing that pissed me off about Parasite haters was when the film got released on Hulu, which, by the way, if you have Hulu, you should totally watch this movie if you haven't. People were hating on it and tweeting the Parasite Twitter and Hulu about why the movie sucked because they had to read the subtitles.
Yeah.
Now that pissed me off, personally.
I don't know. I feel like anyone who doesn't want to read it is just denying them a great experience. Denying themselves a great experience.
They're hurting themselves, and also the fact that's like this movie's bad just because of... They're basically just saying the movie's bad because it's not in English. Like...
Right.
What did you expect, honestly? I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
I'm just...
But with that said, I think we should probably talk about the last third of this movie.
Yeah. I guess spoilers, if... I know we said that earlier, but I want to stress it a lot here. This is... where exactly should we start?
Again, the movie's on Hulu.
Yeah.
So go watch it.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. Please watch it, and don't be a hater.
Yeah. So where do you feel like the last third of this movie begins?
Probably.
Would you say it kind of...
Probably when they're getting ready for Da-sung's birthday party. Like as soon as like it's more that like when it cuts from them in the gym to morning, that's to me where the final act. Because in a way you could break this movie off into like chapters, I feel like it's almost like a book in a sense, and this is like the final part of like a chapter book or a novel. But like this is where like it just gets so crazy. Pretty much, they have a birthday party for the rich family's youngest kid, Dasong, and pretty much what has happened before in the movie is that they discover the old housekeeper comes back because they discover that her husband is living in the basement of the Park's house, which is probably like where the horror element comes in. And basically like they threaten to call like the Park family to show that they're the Kim family are frauds pretty much, and then they trap them down there, like shut them up pretty much. And then when they have the birthday party for the youngest, they try the son, Kiwoo or Kevin, tries to go down to like make amends with the husband, and then he pretty much traps him, and then he starts killing people. Like it becomes like this whole massacre. Now, I unfortunately have not seen this movie with like I've seen it with like one group of friends, but I know you saw it when you first saw it. You told me about your experience, so I actually want to hear what you have to say, like your reactions to what happened.
You know, there was so much like tension built up to the whole massacre at the end.
Yeah.
So we kept like checking the timestamps, and we were all like grabbing onto like the couch and stuff, like, oh my god, like 20 minutes, like 25 minutes, 20 minutes, it's gonna go down. And we had a friend who watched a lot of foreign films, so she knew that once it hit the 20-minute mark, like, everything was gonna kind of start going down, and she was pretty much right. And it definitely delivered.
Yeah, basically, I'll try to explain this in the best way from memory. The son goes down to the basement and sees that the old housekeeper is presumably dead at that point, and then like this wire comes up around his head, and like pretty much the old housekeeper's husband like chokes him and tries to kill him with the scholar's rock, which he carries around all the time. It's supposed to be in a way like his metaphor. It always seems like it's clinging to him. He escapes, and then he runs up the stairs, and then the husband like throws the rock like at his head, and it cuts with like to the classical music, and then it cuts back to the son, and he's like bleeding from his head, and just to like again, he grabs the rock again, chucks it at his head, which is an amazing effect when you think about it, because it looks so real. It looks like a 45-pound weight just got like crushed on his head. And also in the theater, every time
the sound effect.
Yeah, that sound effect is amazing. Like honestly, this movie should have won best sound just for that alone, because that is so effective. And like every time I saw in the theater,
really
there was
unsettling.
Like you could just feel everyone like tense up and cringe during that scene, like in a good way. But then the husband goes up the stairs to the birthday party, which is taking place out in the yard. He grabs a kitchen knife, starts walking out, and he stabs the Kim family's daughter, Jessica, like in the chest pretty much. Then she like falls, and Da-sung, the rich kid, had a vision of like a ghost when he was like a few years back, and it's the old housekeeper's husband. So he like faints and he starts having a seizure. It's really disturbing, and everyone's like running away and all this, and they're trying to like put pressure on the wound. The poor family's the mother of the poor family, Chung-suk, like ends up trying to fight with the old housekeeper's husband, and it's like really intense. She like stabs him with the barbecue skewer, and all this time, Mr. Kim and Mr. Park are like watching this and trying to get Da-sung to the hospital, and Mr. Park, obviously being like rich and all that, he keeps asking, like he like yells at Mr. Kim like, "What are you doing? Like, get your keys, start up the car." Pretty much like, we gotta take him to the hospital. Like it's like he can't do it for himself. Pretty much, he like throws the key, and like it lands like underneath the husband, and then Mr. Park tries to pick it up, and all throughout the movie they always talk about the Kim family's smell, because like they live in this like old mildewy, moldy basement apartment, so it has like that distinct smell. And like there's a scene earlier in the film where they like talk about where Mr. and Mrs. Park talk about that, like, oh, they like Mr. Kim, like, it smells like Mr. Kim, like, what does it smell like? Like if you boiled like an old rag or like old radish or something like that. That's kind of funny. And even like Dasung notices too, like, oh, they all
So I have
smell
to
the
change.
same.
Yeah,
Yeah. He just like smells. He just smells them for no reason. Just like they all smell the same.
that's the
And
point of
Jessica
comedy.
smells the same too. Yeah, it's funny. But anyway, yeah, he
Yeah.
notices the smell of the housekeeper's husband, and this is something that I really like about the movie. All throughout the movie, Mr. Park says what he likes about Mr. Kim is that despite his smell, he loves that he never crosses the line.
Crosses the line.
And there's actually a really, really cool shot near when Mr. Kim first meets Mr. Park. I'm sorry, this is like kind of all over the place, but
No, yeah,
you know,
in the office.
in the office, if you watch the scene again, like he's divided by a window, and when Mr. Kim sits down, he's right next to the window line of like the glass, but he doesn't cross it. He's like at the very
But
edge.
he doesn't cross it.
Like that's because he says he's always so close to crossing the line, but he never crosses it. And even like in right before,
And that is another motif, like in the house when they're walking up the stairs.
yeah,
The main staircase. There is like a pillar which acts as a line.
yeah, that I remember noticing that too.
So lines are another motif in the movie.
It's just like symmetry. I feel like it's a very symmetrical movie because it's all like straight lines and squares and all that, and like,
Yeah.
but also too like in the scene like right before it, because they're what Mr. Kim and Mr. Parker are doing is that they're gonna dress up like American Indians, because like Da Sung's like an American Indian fanatic pretty much, and what they're gonna do is that they're going to, you know, like do a fake battle with Da Sung because he's like the birthday boy, and like Mr. Park, he's like, oh, like, could you do this for me, Mr. Kim? He's like, oh, your wife really loves like gatherings and stuff, like, but you still love her pretty much. And then Mr. Park just stares at Mr. Kim and he's like, think of this as like part of your job. You're getting paid to do this. And kind of like what I saw during that scene was like, in a way, he was kind of being like condescending, like, oh, this is all you're really good for, like just doing our work pretty much, which is so like, that's probably like where the true like kind of horror of like humanity comes into play, just like in one line. And also like as soon as he picks up the keys from the old husband, the housekeeper's husband, he like plugs his nose because of the stench pretty much, and also just like leaves him there too. And all this time Mr. Kim has like on the Indian chief hat thing. I forget what the feather head, I think is what it's called, like those feathers, you know what I'm talking about. And because also all throughout like Kevin the son, he's like, oh, the American Indian or Boy Scout is like a virtue of like good or something like that. And Mr. Kim always kind of has like that virtue, and like he decides he's gonna kill Mr. Park, and as soon as he grabs the knife, he runs towards him, the Indian chief hat comes off and he stabs him right in the chest. Like, to me, that is unbelievably powerful, just because it's like, okay, I've had enough of your shit, you're done pretty much. And he just like stabs him. It's so powerful. And like people would like kind of dismiss that, being like, oh, it just like flew off because he's running. But no, there's so much meaning just in that one little like action. I feel like he stabs him, he pretty much dies, and then he has to go into hiding. And that's not the end of the movie. Like, that's one of the last scenes.
Under the house.
I guess we should talk about the ending at that point too, if you want. I
know, and I really, really like the ending.
Yeah, I love the ending too. Like, do you want to explain? Just because I've been talking so much, or should I?
Well, I can explain it. But so basically, what happens is, so Kevin goes to the hospital.
Lives somehow.
His dad is, he lives, but obviously his brain capacity is kind of hindered.
Yeah, the daughter dies too.
Jessica is dead. His dad is hiding under the house. So basically Kevin has like, he has like a vision or he makes a plan. And that's it, what I really like about it. But I'll get to that.
Yeah.
Is so he kind of has, there's a voiceover kind of montage of him explaining what he's going to do with the next like 10 years of his life. He's going to go make a lot of money, be super successful, and then at the end of all that, him and his mom will buy the house, and they can be with their
dad.
He can be with his dad again, and it shows him in a suit, and then the dad walks up the stairs, and then they're back in the house. But then it cuts back, and all of that was just his imagination,
or his plan, so to say.
Or his, yeah. But that's the thing.
Yeah, like you don't know if he's actually going to do that, because Bong has said.
But one of the big.
Oh, you go. Yeah.
One of the kind of like motif lines in the movie is, like, never make a plan because it'll never go the way you want it to.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he does, and that's what's kind of sad about it, is because if you think about it, you know that that's never going to happen, because his dad always told him that making plans is a bad idea.
Yeah. I feel like, and also too, like, because they said never make a plan, like, yeah, the whole movie was essentially a plan that, like, just went horribly wrong. Like, even though it seemed to be going okay, it just, like, totally went downhill. Like, they're turned out to be fraud, they committed murder, their daughter died, pretty much. Like, everything went just, like, horribly wrong. A part of me, what I kind of like about, the ending, you know that it's not going to happen, but I feel like it is kind of heartwarming in a sense, because who knows, like, his dad never said, like, you know, a plan, like, always works, like, no plan, or I think that's what the line was. I have this feeling that maybe Kiwoo, because he is a bright kid, like, he's not an idiot, like, he is intelligent, so, and he has a lot of big ideas too, because he kind of, like, essentially builds off of.
He was the mastermind of the plan.
In a sense, yeah, he was, because he got the idea from his friend and then created this entire scheme. So, like, he knows how to make a plan, I feel like. So I feel like in a sense he could do that too. It is sort of heartwarming, like, oh, maybe there is hope, even though there also may not be hope. And also the fact, like, even if he does decide, and since they are from such a poor state, like, he's probably gonna work his butt off to, like, try and get the house back if he decides to, even though he's so poor. And he's like, but he knows, like, he wants to get his dad back, pretty much. He's like, he's gonna try his hardest to do that, which I think it's really sweet, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
because I don't consider it a sad ending.
Definitely see
personally.
That.
Like, I know a lot of people say, like, oh, the ending of Parasite is, like, so sad. I don't think it's a sad ending at all. If anything, it is a really hopeful, optimistic ending, despite the fact that there almost is no hope by the end of it. Kind of like playing with the dark.
I consider it kind of bittersweet.
Yeah, it is a very bittersweet
which
ending.
Is, personally, that's my favorite kind of ending.
Yeah. Again, kind of playing with, like, mood and genre shifting.
Yeah. So then the credits roll, and one of the greatest songs.
Oh, the song, yeah.
One of the greatest credit songs.
Soju One Glass.
Soju One Glass.
It's performed by the actor that played Kevin, which I found out recently.
No way. I didn't know that.
I guess
He's a good singer.
Actually, on the topic of, like, performances, we didn't talk about the acting, really. The acting is amazing, I feel like, in this movie.
And that's exactly what I was saying with the whole, like, sub-dub thing is, I just don't, you need to watch the subtitled version of this or learn Korean, because the performances are so great.
Okay. Dubbing, I think, is fine for animation. Like, yeah, the English, I still prefer the original, voice recording of whatever language it was. But since it's already a voice like voice acting, it's so easy to switch out. To me, I feel like doing that for live action is a little bit disrespectful, because you know that the original actors, like, worked, like, so hard and put in a lot of passion, and that shows in Parasite especially, because all the acting is really, really solid. and just to have that redubbed with an English voice. And I'm not saying that the English voice actors aren't trying. I'm sure they're trying, but you just know it pales in comparison to the original like film.
Yeah.
Because like
It's like, yeah, even if they do, if the English voice actors produce an as good performance,
it's not the same.
You know that it's not, and it's not. It's just totally based off of what the original voice or the original actors did.
Yeah, they're.
It's like that's the art, you know.
Exactly.
And you have to experience it in its original form.
Yeah, well,
as it was intended.
As it was intended. All the performances, like, I really like the actor that plays Mr. Kim is one of the most popular South Korean actors, and he does a fantastic job in this film. To me, the two performances that I think make the movie are the actress that played Jessica and the actress that played Moon Gwang, the housekeeper. Like, to me, they like, because they both sort of like transform. Because like what I like about Jessica's character is that she was really the only one. I think I told you. I think we had a conversation about this a while back, but she was the only one that really had to create her own profession in a sense. Because Mr. Kim is Mr. Kim is the driver, Mrs. Kim is the housekeeper, and Kiwoo is the tutor. But Ki Jung, who is Jessica's like the English name, she pretty much is like an art therapist for Dasong, which is, and literally she even says like,
right,
like, oh, what'd you do? The Mrs. Park was like crying or something. It's like, oh, I just Googled art therapy and ad-libbed everything else. Like, she just, like, everything just came off like pretty much out of the blue, and it was probably total nonsense, but Mrs. Kim still bought it, which is also hilarious. But she literally had to create her own role and like did it so well. And they even say like later that like, oh, she was like a fake bridesmaid or something. Like, what was the exact line? But it was like she made a lot of money like being like acting at like a wedding or something like that. So like she's probably the most talented out of all of them, and obviously it gets her like probably the most recognition in this family.
Another one of my favorite lines in the movie is, I'm paraphrasing here, kind of, but when they say to Jessica that, like, she should be, she should go to school for con artistry.
Oh, yeah. The dad's like, why couldn't Oxford have, like, a forgery major? Because they have to Photoshop a university, like, certificate, I think, is what it was.
Yeah, and she does it perfectly.
Yeah, like seamlessly. It looks really legit. But also like the actress that played the housekeeper, who I feel like gets like she does not get enough recognition, because like when she leaves the house and to when she comes back to like get her husband, it is a complete transformation. Like, not only just visually, but also the way she acts, the way she moves, the way she speaks. Like, it's like a Jekyll and Hyde personality, and like you can't even tell it's the same actress, honestly, watching it.
Right, it's like perfectly unsettling.
Yeah, just because I love like when you first see her, like she seems like, oh, she's like a sweet older lady, just here to help. But then when she comes back, she's like, oh, I've been on the other side pretty much. Like, I'm here to get my husband back, and also like when she finds out that. Because like even when she comes back, like
basically
she looks
from the
like
moment
horrible,
that she
but she's
rings the
still
doorbell
like,
and you see
I
that
want
it's
to go
her
see my husband. And
at
then
the
when
door.
she finds out that like,
I feel like there's something unsettling about that.
She's like,
that's kind of where
like,
the
no,
scene
I'm gonna tell the master. I'm gonna point. I'll send this picture, like, and I'll expose you all pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
And then she unfortunately dies too.
Right. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What else is there to talk about?
So I feel like we could talk about this movie for probably 10 hours.
Oh yeah, if we wanted to talk about every single thing, we probably could, just because there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that we didn't even mention that we really liked too. I'm sure there was like so many other details.
That's the thing is, this is supposed to be an hour-long program.
We're currently at an hour.
We're
20.
already at 119. Yeah, because I feel like, I feel like just now we've kind of barely scratched the surface on at least everything that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
We could go in depth.
We could do like.
We didn't get to talk about the cinematography of this movie.
Oh yeah, but the cinematography is so good too. It's so well shot and it's so beautiful. Like especially the colors too. Like the colors especially, like really pop.
Mm-hmm.
And like the lighting is so bright and vibrant. It kind of looks like, in a way, it sort of looks like a storybook. Like.
Yeah.
Like just these really bright images against like perfect lighting too. And
It just feels like there's a mythical or fantastical element to it.
yeah, but
like the whole housekeeper rising from the basement, the ghost.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it's once again playing with the genre. Like it kind of look.
Yeah.
It is obviously set in reality, but it looks very much like kind of, even in a way, kind of like an animated film in terms of its color palette. I feel like it's just so it almost looks like kind of like a. I'm just more basing off a color. Like it kind of looks like something Pixar would make. I feel like.
That's it.
But I think this shows the power of this movie too. Like we've been talking about it for like however long it's been, and we barely talked about like all the details, and the fact and this makes me want to go back and like watch the movie again, even though I've seen it 8 times. I want to keep watching it. Like I don't think like I'll get. It's a movie that I really won't get like tired of. I want to keep coming back and like trying to find more details, get more involved in the story, and like discover all the motivations of the characters and like why they're doing this and how it happened. Like this is what a movie does. This is what great movies do.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I guess, I listen to like movie scenes in the shower usually, and then just listen to the dialogue.
I wasn't laughing at you. I did not expect you to say that.
No, but this is like a movie that I want to like memorize all the scenes to.
Oh yeah,
like totally. I want to watch the scenes over and over and over again.
Like
I watch like the fight scenes from like Revenge of the Sith a lot to kind of study the choreography. Or I like Pulp Fiction, just listening to the dialogue. Like. Yeah, this is just another one of those movies I really want to just kind of memorize.
I kind of do the same because I listen to the soundtrack to this movie like all the time because the music is very good, like we said, and like I can visually like remember like a lot of the scenes, like especially the Peach montage, like that music score, like I remember every single shot and like what happens during that scene, like when it like cuts and like when the music swells up, like I know, oh, that's when they're doing this and all that.
There you go.
Yeah. Final.
So yeah. Should we wrap this up?
Yeah. Final thoughts on the movie.
Yeah. I really. It's one of my favorite movies. Probably in the top 3, if not my favorite of the 2010s. I look forward to hopefully buying this movie on Blu-ray.
Yeah, Criterion's supposed to come out this year.
Oh, well that'd be a good way to start a Criterion collection.
Yeah, I already bought the movie on like standard Blu-ray, but I'm buying it again. I don't care. I'll support this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I absolutely love this movie. Like, I said this before, like to other people, and like I did like a review of this as well back when it came out. I feel like people overuse the term masterpiece, like a lot, And I do too. Like, there's movies I say, like, oh, this is a masterpiece, when I really don't, like, mean it. There's no other word to describe Parasite. Like, it is the film definition of a masterpiece. And kind of like what you said,
I agree.
This is not only my favorite film of 2019, favorite film of the 2010s. It is my favorite film of all time because it has everything I love. It balances black comedy, social themes, family drama, intriguing characters, evocative music, simple cinematography and sets, great performances. It has every single element that I want in a movie, and it's done perfectly. There are,
Yeah.
like I said, I cannot think of any problems with this movie. Like, if anyone has like an actual issue, please send them my way because I'm very curious to hear what you have to say, but just don't be a hater.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
I think it's it's a great proof that we have yet to see the best movie of all time, and cinema is continuing to get better and better.
Yeah.
Parasite gets a 10 out of 10 from me. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of want to, I think, or actually no. So we're not doing a podcast next week. But the week after that, when as I was doing the podcast, I kind of wanted to do the episode on Rushmore.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah.
I want to watch it again, actually.
Sweet.
So Rushmore will be our next review. That's one of your favorite movies, right?
Yeah, I think it is probably my favorite movie.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see you then.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching
Or listening.
Be sure to like and subscribe and stuff. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the pilot episode of the CineMajors podcast. My name is James Alchel.
My name is Matthew Ho.
And I'm here with Matthew. Yeah. All right. Bye.
See you.
Nice.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a good episode. All right. Let's see. So that went to there. Yeah. Damn.